Good afternoon, everybody. This is Lee Johnson with Rebel Son. I'm helping my good old buddy Hunter Elliott with Range Hot today review the brand new Wesson Wraith 10mm. Pretty gun, you see it right here. It's gorgeous. Comes out of the box with a threaded barrel on the tip for all your accessories. This, of course, is the Liberty Suppressors Cosmic, which he has already done a review on, so be sure to check out rangehot.com for that as well. And this is it here.
Hey y'all, it's Hunter Elliott, rangehot.com. Hope everybody is doing well and staying out of trouble. This afternoon I'm finalizing my review on the Wesson Wraith, relatively new pistol to the market. This one chambered in 10mm automatic. It is also available in 9mm Luger and 45 automatic. First thing I did want to show you is the detachable 8-round box magazine is out. I have locked the slide to the rear, chamber's empty, so we know she is safe to talk about. This pistol is machined from forged stainless, and Wesson is doing a different kind of finish, what they're calling the distressed duty. Most people liked it, some people didn't. Me personally, I think it's pretty cool. The stocks are G10, and they are aggressive, and when I say aggressive, they are pretty aggressive. Some of the folks that shot it actually commented on how aggressive they were, didn't care for them. If that be the case, it's just 4 stock screws, and you can swap them out to whatever stocks you prefer. Me, I work for a living with my hands, and so they weren't too bad, but overall length on this pistol is 9.5 inches. This match grade barrel is 5 3/4 inches, and the reason it's a little bit longer than your standard 1911 is obviously you can see that it is factory threaded 9/16 by 24, and that's where you're getting that extra 3/4 of an inch. The height on this pistol is 6 inches, width is 1.5 inches, and the weight is 43 ounces. Now, you might want to sit down for this part. MSRP is $2,077, so it is definitely an expensive pistol. Recognize the fact that the street price is certainly going to be better than that. So as I go through the review and talk about the features, just kind of keep in mind why that MSRP is what it is, because it really ain't so much the paint job you need to be concerned about. It's what's under the hood that makes a whole lot more difference. So don't be sucked in by those beautiful 1911s that are full of mem, because Wesson, all the small parts on these guns, they're made out of tool steel. So there's no mem, there's no cast in the small parts on this pistol. You've got these tall silencer style sights, silencer height. These are both dovetailed into the slide, and they are a straight 8 night sight design. This rear sight here is adjustable for windage. You got a little set screw here, and the face of it is nicely serrated, and that'll kind of help break up any sheen that you might get off of it when you're running the gun in sunlight or what have you. There's also a nice serrated ridge that runs down the top of the slide for that same reason. Now the tall sights here, again, they are a little goofy, and when you're searching for a holster, you have to kind of keep that in mind. But over the past handful of guns that I have reviewed with these tall sights, you know, I'm starting to appreciate them for more than just the fact that you can run them with a can on it. There's a lot of real estate on them, and that gives your eye a lot to look for when you're trying to acquire these sights in a bit of a hurry. So you come down here and you've got a really nice, generous, deep beaver tail with an incorporated palm swell, and once again, that palm swell is there, and to just ensure that when you're gripping this pistol and disengaging that grip safety, that you're getting a positive disengagement. Now this pistol does incorporate a magazine well, and that is certainly beneficial for when you're doing those hasty reloads, but recognize the fact that when you're running a gun with a mag well, and this is applying to any pistol, you want to make sure you're running an extended base pad, because when you seat that mag, that base pad needs to stick out just a little bit past that mag well so you can get a good deliberate seat. Nice triggers, breaking at 4.5 pounds, and you've got just a little bit of take up, very little over travel. And that trigger is adjustable for the throw, but it was really nice out of the box. We took this thing out at 25 yards, shot it from a rest, printed some really nice 1.5 inch groups with the good premium ammo. With some of the cheaper stuff that they did open up just a little bit, as to be expected. But honestly, y'all, that's about as good as I can shoot personally at 25 yards from a rest. So we did start off, I ran just some watered down 10mm 180 grain, what I call paper punch and ball ammo, and we stepped up to some pretty hot double tap, even a 135 grain that's clocking about 1,600 feet a second. And throughout the gamut of ammunition, defensive and ball and all that from all velocities into 10 millimeter spectrum. I didn't get any misfeeds or malfunctions, nor did I get any case bulges. But there was an issue. And after some investigation, I learned that it was not an issue based on the gun itself. And let's talk about that briefly. I was running the super hot double tap 135 grain jacket and hollow point, shot several mags through it, was running good, was getting some footage from my buddy with the Liberty suppressor's Cosmic threaded onto it. When I recovered the brass from the 8 rounds that we initially shot through this 1911 with the silencer on it, every one of them, the primers were punched out. That is a very good indication of an overpressure system. But I was like, wait a minute, hold on. We've already shot a bunch of this ammo without the can on it, and there were no problems. So I placed a call to Liberty, Dan Wesson, and Double Tap, and explained to them exactly what went down. Everybody said, hey, let me think on that, Hunter, give me a few days. And then during that time, I reached out to a couple other ammunition manufacturers that I knew and posed this question to a lot of people. And after a few days, I started getting my answers coming back into me. And this is what I say we, mostly they actually determined. As y'all know, as soon as bullet begins to exit the case mouth, this slide begins to move rearward. The slide is in motion while the bullet is still in the barrel, going downrange. What was happening was, about the time the bullet was entering into the can, this barrel had traveled enough by the link pulling it down to where it has begun to disengage, and the slide is moving rearward. Well, 1911 would normally, all that pressure would have been vented to the atmosphere, but now these were pretty hot loads, and so there was still a tremendous amount of pressure left within this system. And though it is a silencer and it is larger and it does have a hole in the end, that pressure wasn't able to rapidly just vent into the atmosphere, and so it was somewhat contained, but it did cause those primers to pop out. Now, that is the best theory that I got. If you've got a better theory on that, I'm all ears. Throughout the review, every other round that I shot through this pistol with the can on it, no problem. We never got to an unsafe pressure. We didn't have any problems. We didn't have case bulging or any kind of blowouts or anything. Okay, y'all, so I've got it all detail stripped apart. Got all the little parts and pieces pulled out. A couple things I observed while I was detail stripping it. First and foremost, the slide stop. When it goes through the right side of the receiver, it's actually flush with the receiver, which I think is a bit of a nice touch aesthetically, but it makes it a little bit harder to field strip to get this slide stop out. So the plunger spring has just the slightest hint of a kink in it, which is the first time I've ever seen that out of Dan Wesson. I'm sure it's not because I've been complaining about it, but I'm glad to see that, because when I took that thumb safety off, I'm used to trying to have to catch that plunger, but nope, it just kind of eased right on out. Something else I noticed while I was taking the stocks off is where the stock screw meets the hole, it's got a little O-ring there. That helps keep that stock screw snug. Going over everything here, I'm looking at the barrel. It is, as expected, a fully ramped barrel. The locking lugs look fine. They're nice and sharp and crisp. Looking at the sear and disconnect here, I mean, there's no chipping or cracking on that. Dan Wesson is utilizing a reduced radius firing pin stop. Basically, that just takes some of the mechanical advantage away from the slide, transferring that energy to the mainspring, kind of helping reduce some of that muzzle flip, perceived recoil. If you're curious exactly how that works, John Travis, 1911 tuner, wrote an article on rangehot.com explaining it in pretty good detail. This pistol does not run any kind of firing pin safety. This is the first time I've even tried to detail or field strip this pistol. I've literally, when I got it, I put a little bit of oil on it every couple hundred rounds, and I've just been shooting it, so it's pretty nasty. I want you to see I've been running the gun, and that's what happens. The hammer hooks, where they mate with the sear here again. 400 rounds of 10 millimeter, especially, like I say, a lot of that was some hot double tap stuff and some warm Hornady stuff. In 400 rounds, if something was out of time or there was an inferior part, I feel confident it would be showing up by now. But here we go. Everything looks good to go. So in my opinion, that's evidence that it's an expensive pistol, but it could be worth it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Now, finding a silencer for your 10 millimeter pistol may not be the easiest thing in the world, but fortunately, Liberty suppressors, the Cosmic, is rated for 10 millimeter, and Liberty does make a 9/16 by 24 piston or booster. So if you've already got their boosters, you can order the piston. If you don't have any other or and you're looking to suppress a 10 millimeter, the Liberty Suppressor's Cosmic is what I would recommend. When you're done with the video, jump over to rangehot.com. There's going to be a written article with all that technical information. Once again, everything's going to be over there, along with a little chart showing the actual ammo we shot and the groups that it printed and all that sort of stuff. So if you're curious, just jump over to rangehot.com, take a look at that, and let me know what you think. And if you got any questions or comments past that, you can find us on all the social media sites, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, all that stuff. We're there. So let me know what you think, good, bad, right, or wrong. If you got any critiques or criticisms, I'd love to hear those too. And I want you to take care of yourselves and each other, and I look forward to seeing you at the range.